Yo, it's NJ and I'm back. Yeah, it's been a while and I'm still making a video on that, don't worry. But for now, I can't focus on one thing only since I have to make sure that I actually remain active. Like, when was the last video? 2 months ago. Jeez, alright. It's fine. New year, more work. Also, thank you guys so much. Look at how far the channel is growing. I'm proud that this is a first for me, so I really appreciate it so much. 360 now is like, wow, we're almost there. We're literally, my next goal now is 500. That's like the next big step, so I'm excited for that. But all the filler aside, someone asked me to draw anime hair, and I thought to myself and went, I haven't done that, so here we are. Anime hair. For me, this is what makes a design of characters. And of course, there are different types of hairstyles, and which one you choose decides how your characters look. With hair, you have to understand my 3 rules: points, volume, and design. So with points, you will have to understand that on hair there is a middle point, a top point, and a back point. And at least that's how I understand it. And these points indicate specific parts of the hair. The middle being actually the front but middle of the head, the top being where the hair usually spirals, and the back where hair follows the direction of whatever hairstyle you choose. Next is volume. Volume is how much hair there would be on the head. A nice example is that big hair has more volume and short hair has less volume, like so. And lastly, design. Design is more how you stylize your hair, whether the tips are really thick or really thin, but essentially this is how you draw your lines. Now, with all these notes in mind, I'll go over the practical side where I explain everything. Note, this is how I draw my anime hair and how I color it. So this is where I take over. Welcome to Future NJ. So the microphone is different. I use 2 different microphones, one when I'm actually here working and then the other one for, but it doesn't matter. So here we are, and what we have here is, I'm just going to draw heads quickly and then we'll get to the actual work. Alright, so let's just get right into it. So I have 2 sets of male and female. Left is just random characters that I drew for the sake of this video, and on the right are 2 existing characters from my OC story, El Havenstone. We've got Cooper and Victoria. To explain how exactly one would go ahead with this is that once you've drawn your head, and I assume that you can draw heads at this point, but I have now also realized that there is no head video on the channel, so I'll make a video on that as well. It is included in my how to draw faces, but let's just get into the hair thing. So with hair, you also have to understand that you draw, like, I guess the sideburns, you don't really have to, and then hair would have certain things like so. This is just like the hair outline, if that makes sense. So usually there'd be hair outlines. You don't always have to draw like the sideburns and everything that I'm drawing right now, which is okay. But for the most part, you draw these, I guess, guidelines. So then, once the guidelines are now drawn, we have to put points. This is the middle point of talking about. So this is pretty much the center of the face. That's the middle point. Again, middle point, but this can also move depending on the hairstyle that you have. So for the sake of her, I'm going to draw like a side kind of thing, so I'll put the point there just for the purpose of this video, and these 2 will have different ones. Hers is directly in the middle actually, and his is like somewhere here. I think it's also in the middle, but no, it's more here. But anyway, we'll get to them when we get to them. So now that we've got these points, you section off your head actually, because this is like the front. Do that, the front, and is the top, the back, and then the bottom back. So this is really how it should be sectioned off. Let me just make this better. So now that you have, like, you should just make sure that like you have these things sectioned off, and well, there you go, one front, top, back. But I don't often use this, so I more decide the hairstyle I want and then figure out how it's I approach it from there. Alright, now that we have our guidelines set, what I want you to do is pull up a reference if you want to, or you could do it from imagination, but I would say pulling up a reference will help you just understand what you want better. So since this is a side quarter view profile, in between, doesn't matter. So you can pull up a reference that is similar to this, and you can find a hairstyle that you like that would suit your character that you want to draw, or if it is an existing character, we can figure how that goes. So if I had to draw Baku's hair, for example, oops, wrong there, I would then now find a reference on Pinterest and then figure out how the hair would work in this case with Bakugo. So his hair is really spiky, so I'm gonna draw as many spikes as I can, but also make sure to keep in count that I have to measure the volume. This is what I meant by volume. Volume is how like thick the hair is. Like this would be like the most of the volume. You can have a buzz cut, and this could be this literally could be the hairstyle, like da 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 da. That could be the hair, 100%. Like without that's like the least amount of volume. But then as the hair is more full, there's more volume. With Bakugo, there's a lot of volume. This is not supposed to be Bakugo, this is just his hair that I'm putting on this original character, I guess. Now I'm just going to switch between my guidelines. So now I'm just going to make this like this. Seems okay enough. And make sure to follow this, like, I guess, imaginary line, which is your headline. It's not imaginary, since it's there, but it's imaginary since you won't be able to see it after the hair is there. So now you can find faults in your hair. So mine, the fault is here, is that it doesn't go out enough because I was too scared to go too far out. So now you can just tweak and figure out how exactly you want it to look. And tweaking is nice because then this is where you can just fine tune mostly everything. There you go. So this is quite similar enough. And we've now used, if we had to like guess, this is the middle of the hair. If his hair had to part, then it would look like that. But since Baku's hair doesn't really part, it does have that like 3D aspect to it. You can draw these little things to indicate the back. I usually add like lines to just indicate like something's at the back, or just really dark areas. Like that. Now what I do with my hair usually is that like I would add little like lines, just depending. Then random but not really. They always follow a path. They're always on like sticky, pointy, or they're sticking out sides. I don't know how to describe it. Like, so if a hair had to go like this, I would usually have it like that. Sometimes that's where I usually draw these like lines, just because that's what I like in my art style. But what I want to do here is that this is still too close, so I'm gonna make it go out a lot more now. But then there you go. This is somewhat alright. This is sticking out a bit too much, but yeah, there you go. Then another thing I do in my art style is that I would draw a hair like that, but then small ones I would do this, and then I like make little lines in between. This is what I mean by the design of it. This is mostly just jolts down to what you're used to, what you like drawing. But since he's done, I don't know how I'm gonna draw the girl now because, well, I need to draw her whole head. So now what I'm gonna do actually is that I'll move the guy down. But now that we're done with the guy, I can explain that this is his volume. This is the volume. The distance from, I guess, the head going outwards. The design is like what you notice, like things I do, like these points is how I usually draw, just like specific hairs. And then now we've got the points, which are these. Usually it's this, or one would be here if the hair was like or here, if hair was sprouting. Depends where you put each, but in this case the one for this hairstyle didn't really matter because Bakugo's hair is just, I guess, everywhere. Now for the girl, we'll have to figure out what exactly I would want to do there. Now we can do long hair or short hair, but I want to actually do this one hairstyle that I just saw. So now luckily we haven't technically already done it, but we can still work with what we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this, close this off, move that dot, and now the new dot is here. So the new dot is there. That's where the hair is going to be. So this is going to go like this. I'm just going to use white on here. Okay, cool. So now that the new dot's there, this is where the hair is going to start going out. Let's do this. It goes out and then down. But this, since it's at an angle, we have to do it like this. So it's going to go down here. It actually goes down really fast, so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to, for I guess, teaching purposes, I'm going to make it completely full. There we go. So technically her eye should be covered. But now, there's this cool thing where when you draw hair, you have to understand that like this just looks like a block. But then when you add like triangles, for example, like I'm going to do this, erase, triangle, erase, triangle. It looks a bit better, but something's missing. So let's take these edges and triangle, triangle, and another triangle. So it looks a bit better, but now it looks too perfect, which is incorrect. So this is where we do this, and then we stylize it a bit. So now we add more of these triangles and more triangles, and eventually it would look like hair. Well, that's what we hope it would look like. There. So essentially what we're going to do now is that we're going to add triangles to her hair. So we're going to erase here and erase there. Actually, this isn't a big eraser, so we're going to do that and then go up, stops there, hair goes down, and then there you go. That's 2 strands. But I don't want her eye to be covered, like I said, so even if it, okay, partially covered, still fine. But then this one can be a really thin strand. Then I'll show you a nice design that I do for girls, is that now, this one actually has like a bit of the sideburns, but when I do like hair that's getting pulled backwards, like if it's getting pulled backwards, I do these like lines, but otherwise you could do something like this, triangles. I used to do triangles like this, but I prefer doing these like half lines. So then it looks like that eventually. So there we go. I just want to make that more opaque. So now we've got these lines. These are most because her hair, this is, well, because her hair is getting pulled back. So now this, since it's getting pulled back, it should be close enough to the skull, which is top of head. So now that's why that's there. Now you draw lines going in the direction that it's getting pulled towards. So this hair is getting pulled towards the back. Now I'm going to do the same thing I did since the hair is getting pulled back. Do that. Straight, and then now that we're curving, we need to curve the lines from, I guess, the point that it's coming from as well again. And you draw a straight line where it just like kind of meets. And then just little details just because I can. This is another thing where you draw, I guess, lines in between to indicate that the hair is going. You don't have to, this is just something I also do. Depends on your stylistic preference. And I'm going to do those things that I do. And there we go. Hair's not done yet. Now, I'm going to take this. And I'm going to teach you something amazing. So, this is normal hair, I guess, right? Looks basic enough. But now, when you do this, there's a little hole in between now. So now so this looks like this hair parting. Hair is now parting like that, sorry. So it's both coming from like the same strand, but then it can also just part ways or be like that. This can also be extended if it's like this and then like that, but we're not doing that. So this is what this character is going to have now, is that she's going to have a bunch of these. So I'll draw the outline of it so I can show you. So now what I'm doing here is that sometimes hair would go like this, and what you do is that from this side you'd go take it up and then it would bend in a way. I don't know how to stylistic show you, but I'll show you like this. So this is the top of it. This is like where light would be hitting. Light would not hit here, so this would be a bit darker. I mean, if you were coloring it in. So I don't know if you can see this, but like it goes from this side. This is like this is what you can see with your eye, and then this is a point where you can't see anymore, but then you can see the top again. So technically this is the back. So if it were to be straight, like just go like this is what technically it would be, but then it gets bent this way and it would look like this now. Hopefully that's like a nice tip as well that could help. So now that her hair is drawn out like that, we're gonna make sure this goes. Okay, this is the outline of the hair, as strange as it is. But I didn't draw it, so this is now where we're gonna divide the hair. So there we go. What I like to do is that I'd like to follow the hair and then make it stick out like that. So there we go. But let's clean it up a bit more. So there we go. There's gonna be a bunch of these. So now this one is a bit big, but then it goes thin. So big until thin there. Goes down. Fix that. This is like very kind of complicated in a way. Like you don't have to draw a girl's hair like this, but I made sure to like get one that had a bit of everything. So some hairstyles would have the front part. This is just hair going back. Then there'd be, if you had to draw hair that would go down, it would have waves. You could have open parts of the hair like what I'm doing here. But this is so like, this is just everywhere, dude. This is confusing as heck. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I understand how it works, but to draw it is a different case, and then explain it is another case entirely. But essentially I'm drawing open areas to the hair. By the way, this is I think it's from Horikoshi's latest sketch on his Twitter. So this is Momo Yairozu from his Twitter. And if you haven't noticed, a big inspiration of mine is Horikoshi. So there we go. It's a bit better. It would be obviously a bit better if one had to show shading. But again, we'll get to the coloring stage. So what I'm going to do now, actually, I'm hoping you're not following this because this is like me just like tweaking. Oh, come on. Yeah, I didn't pick that up. My bad. I want to actually bring it in a bit closer. So now, do this. That feels a little bit better than what it was. It's not 1-to-1, but there you go. Now the hairstyle. Now I'll get to ones that I've drawn. I'll get to them in another video. I am sorry so much, but if you notice the runtime, we're at like the 20-minute mark, and I'm like, holy hell, I still have like the video. This whole thing is like 44 minutes long, and I'm like, bro, no one's gonna want to watch this. I'm gonna have to split into 2 parts. So the second part is gonna be a lot better. But I'm hoping that the video actually does better than the first part, because the second part actually has the details that I actually know exactly what I'm talking about, because this character is already designed and know what I've done. But anyway, this is where I'm gonna leave it off. I hope the video was somewhat informative, because this one did have some things that I hope helped. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.